What's going on YouTube? Today I'm going to be making a video about what I believe might be the most pressing issue within the incel community. As someone who I believe could identify as someone who is an incel, I feel like I could speak on this topic as I have spent time in the incel sphere for a while. The number one issue, I believe, is the issue of personality. Now, I know it's common within the incel community to dismiss this as being like, oh, well, why does it matter that I have, a bad personality because a woman is not going to give me the time of day because I'm ugly. Therefore, my personality doesn't matter. So if you are dismissive in that regard, I just wouldn't even listen to what I have to say. I believe a lot of young men today, including myself, were not given a fair shot in the world to begin with. There's a common saying within the incel community that, it's not over because it never began. And that's the truest thing I've ever heard from the incel community. We live in an age that is so awful now. Traditional gender roles are really non-existent anymore. I believe we have had a multi-generational issue of absent fathers within a lot of communities. I know this is kind of perceived as being like a predominantly black issue, but it's really from what I've seen, this affects most Americans today. Now, with that being said, as someone who grew up without a father myself, I never really knew what my role was, considering my relationship with women, which that can put you at a complete disadvantage, especially if the women or that you are considering dating have a somewhat functional family. And if you are coming from a family that is not functional, you are going to have a hard time talking to this, or getting anything out of this relationship, or getting anything out of your social interaction with a female, especially if you're trying to win her over as a potential dating partner. If she has a good relationship with her father, she has been taught how to be treated, right? So, if you were not programmed from a young age by a father to your role that you should have with her, she's going to look at you as someone who is just not functional, right? So she's going to dismiss you as a potential husband. And you, including myself, have been raised in a society where men do not really feel like we have to put much effort into dating a woman. That, should just become successful financially, get a good job, and that should be sufficient enough, to win a woman over. But that's just not true. Not in this age. That might have been true decades ago, but the what I believe most women want, a lot of men today cannot offer, because they are at a disadvantage. Ultimately, the end goal here, when considering dating a woman, would be marriage, a long-term marriage. And you would have to fulfill a role that would be similar to her father, right? So women, they historically, and even to some extent today, they don't like having no security. So ultimately, women go from a father type figure, and then they marry someone who takes his place. And a woman is told, she can do no wrong. It's all the men's fault. Blah blah blah. So, right then, you have no room to really say anything that she's not going to like without her being super dismissive of you. So, ultimately, you need to, if you desire, you should choose the route of becoming someone similar to a father figure if you want to date or marry. No, that is my opinion. Maybe you want something different out of life. I'm trying to help people do what I would do myself if I were to pursue a wife. I grew up with none of this knowledge. I had to figure out this for myself. I have never, because I grew up without a father, I never had any example of what a man does or did, or how he interacts with women. So, I was, whenever I was trying to interact with women, it was always just shots in the dark. I've done plenty of cringy things, to try to get women's attention. I'm out here doing. I'm out here. I was out here, lost. With no direction, no tips, no nothing. Women, not all. I mean, because there are some lost women out there as well who will date anything, any kind of man, if she doesn't have a decent background as well, a decent family to teach her right from wrong. If you're just wanting, a one night stand or just, whatever, that is possible. There are websites for that. But I'm speaking about relationships, relationship dynamics. If you want a girlfriend, it shouldn't be too hard to get one. Now, the quality of that relationship, that varies for everyone. I believe if you are ugly, you could probably get an ugly girl as well. Are you going to be happy with her? Probably not. Everybody wants something something they perceive to be better than they are, you know. Same goes for girls. Everything you could say about guys, you could say that for girls as well. There are plenty of people in marriages who are unhappy, you know, and they just settle. So, you know, the grass is not always greener. I would not put this idea of marriage or having a partner on this pedestal that most people do. And I know that's hard for incels, because, you know, you want what you can't have. You know, that, or at least that's the way you perceive it. As someone who has never had a serious relationship with a woman, I think a large reason for that would be because I simply just really do not desire a real relationship with a woman. I thought I did when I was younger, and, you know, that's what really drove me down the path of self-improvement. But once I think I figured out what relationships really are, I saw that it's not really for me, because ultimately you have to behave in the way of a father type figure with this woman, which I do not want. I do not want to be a responsible father type figure like that. Oh, I am a unashamed bachelor, if you would. You know, I have a bachelor mentality. A lot of you probably do as well. You just don't know it yet. But, you know, if you're going to speak disrespectfully to women or anyone, I mean, what do you expect? You know, this, you know, I mean, you might be able to do that with, you know, other men, because men kind of talk that way to each other sometimes, but women are a lot more sensitive, and especially normies, you know, normie women, you know, they will not like that very much. And, you know, a lot of incels are on the autistic spectrum, so this may be a little difficult for you to grasp, but you know, this is just my opinion. You know, as far as I know, I could have autism. I don't know. I know I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder whenever I was a teenager, because I spent some time in a mental hospital, a mental ward, if you would. So I could be completely wrong about all of this. I just feel like that's what I've come to the conclusion to over the course of my 29 years of life. You know, personality plays a large role. Looks. I mean, if a girl dismisses you as a potential dating partner because of your looks, that's not the kind of girl you want anyway. That's not. You don't want to be with someone who's vain and vapid like that, unless, you know, you're vain and vapid too. You know, you're full of vanity. I mean, that just seems kind of dumb to me. I mean, you wouldn't have much in common with her as it is if she's someone who puts vanity on this, like, pedestal or whatever. That's my opinion on the personality issue concerning inceldom. For now, maybe I might make a part 2. Alright, that's it for now. Bye bye.